We're honored to have our contributor Abubaker Abed with us live from Central Gaza. Abubaker. Let's see. I know the connection has been difficult the last few days. Hi, Abubaker.
Hello.
So glad you're here.
Hi, Abubaker. It's so nice to see you.
Thank you so much. Also, always nice to talk to you.
Tell us about the current situation
So
right now. We can. Can you hear us? There might be a delay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's breaking. It's breaking quite a bit, but I don't. Can you hear me well?
Yes. Yes.
We can hear you clearly.
If you can talk about what's happening in Deir Bala, where you are, tell us about the situation for people there.
So, yes, one of the first important things that I want to say is that we've been talking about it over the course of the last weeks, which is that summer is lethal. Unfortunately, people in tents cannot bear this life because you're talking about lizards and snakes and other insects spreading all over in tents, which is something which causes many viral infections, including scabies, for hepatitis virus A and other viruses, and that even sometimes people had their livers completely damaged and dysfunction. So yes, this situation right now for people in tents is absolutely unendurable, and that they don't have any options. The temperatures range from 30 to 37, and during the noon and after the noon it's very scorching. And but you can see people outside. They are queuing up for water for hours under this scorching sun for just a gallon of water. You can see clearly that children under the age of 10, they wait and they queue up for hours to get a gallon of water, probably less than 3 liters. So I think that even women, they queue up for water. If we talk about it, this is not the life of children that should be. This is not the life of women that should be. Absolutely. And at the same time, unfortunately, attacks on Deir al-Balah continue, particularly in the eastern outskirts of Deir al-Balah. We know and we've seen that from high-rise buildings that the Israeli forces have seized full control of Salah ad-Din Street after heavily attacking that street in the eastern outskirts of Deir al-Balah. We've also been aware that many residential blocks and the municipality wells and all of their agricultural lands across the territory in Deir al-Balah, particularly in the eastern outskirts, have been bulldozed by Israeli tanks. So we can see that. Also, we can clearly see from high-rise buildings Apache warplanes shooting at civilians at the same time, which is absolutely frightening. And also different attacks have hit different homes and residential buildings in the west and the south. So, and also in the north, particularly in the Zawaida area, we've also been aware that one of the doctors has been killed with his family, with 8 members of his family, in an attack in Deir al-Balah some days ago. So yes, the situation continues to be struggling, continues to be very challenging. And unfortunately, yes, only 4 days, we're getting into the 10th month. Absolutely unimaginable, absolutely unbearable. People hope, pray, and that pray that the negotiations, they have been hearing the news that the negotiations will be resumed, but there this kind of protracted negotiations does not give those people hope, does not give them any means of life that this will end. They're praying every time, every day, that this will end, because they've bled enough. Their wounds haven't been healed up. They have been bleeding across all those days over the last 271 days. And yes, personally speaking, because that is something that I wanted to say, because it's not a personal life, and even that I'm a journalist, I also lived through all these harsh circumstances. Unfortunately, my sister has been has been, you know, has been crying over her pain. She cannot find the right medications. She's also in an environment that is not better for her health and for her baby's health. So she's been crying over that. She's been crying that and praying that this will end. And she continues to suffer from unbearable, and she continues to bear the brunt of the suffering. And yes, this is life. And the same thing for my father. So my father and mother both are still sick. They lack medications. My father's feet are bleeding most of the time. And this is the whole situation. It's not all my family, but every family around. The inaccessibility to water, food continues to be the main struggle. Continues that also we have the prices, they have been skyrocketing over the course of time. The flow of goods hasn't been consistent, which makes for a lot of problems for people here. And yes, there's still a lot, and more people are being killed, more people are bleeding. We are slowly dying, unfortunately, and we hope that this will end.
Abubaker, it's so much to take in. We're so happy to see you. And we would normally want to say, and we do say, congratulations to your sister on her giving birth. But under the circumstances for her and for so many new mothers and newborn babies in Gaza, we know that it's a struggle between life and death just to survive. But we just want to extend our congratulations to your sister, and we pray for you and your family and for your new nephew,
Exactly.
that he and all the children of Gaza will see a much better life very, very soon. They don't deserve anything less than that. Abubaker, I want to ask you something else. It's very hard to ask about this in the midst of so much horror and suffering, but as many people know, you are an avid sports fan, a sports expert, and a sports journalist. And
Yes.
even during this genocide, you have been watching the football tournaments, the European football tournament. And I don't know if you also follow Copa America. Believe it or
Yes.
not, I watched the Mexico-Ecuador match the other day. It's something that will shock many of my friends. But and you've been sharing that you're watching it. I just want to ask you about what that means to you right now in the middle of this genocide. What does it provide some
Honest.
sort of relief and distraction?
Great question. Incredibly crafted question, because this is a very, very interesting point to bring up. So yes, it brings a lot of relief, a lot of distraction and respite from Israel's continuous bombardment, because as I'm telling you, as being a football journalist, a sports journalist and commentator of the course of the last years, yes, I always do. And even that, probably something private, but it's okay. Being a Sports English has sent me a high message from their studio, which really, really made my day. So when you look at people and how they are trying to cope, because I've been asked numerous times, how are you coping with the current situation? How can I cope? Because we find solace in football. We find solace in watching the tournament, and we find solace in finding or in teams that support the genocide losing and being humiliated on the pitch. And I hope that every team that supported the genocide will be kicked out of the tournament, and I'm sure that will do. And you can see that about the teams and about everyone, that look at the journey we are trying to follow. Just watch the highlights of a game, and sometimes some of the game we charge the batteries from the early morning for hours. We wait for hours to charge our batteries. You're talking about 5 hours at least. Then you set the scene, you set the screen, you set the TV screen and other stuff in the night. You need at least 2 hours. and then attacks happen around you, so you try to lower the voice or the sound of the TV screen as much as you can because you're afraid of something happening around, and then you cannot watch much of the game because the battery will be will be running out very soon because you don't have the means to watch a game. But we're still following the score lines. We're still watching those players. We thank the teams and the fans bases that have been supporting Palestine, such as Turkey. Turkey knocked out Austria 2-1 in the round of 16, and their fans have been raising the Palestinian flag. Also, Spain did the same thing. That is one of the most predominant forms of support for Palestine because football is a place where your voice can be heard very, very widely. And yes, that is something we want. It is not about only a kind of double standards that Ukraine was showing extremely great support and unrivaled support, but then Palestine hasn't seen anything. We're talking about more than 323 athletes have been killed in Gaza, including 231 footballers. Of those footballers, more than 66 is children. That is absolutely unbearable. We're talking about that after the Rafah invasion, there is an update that only 4 sporting facilities have been undamaged across the territory. We're talking about that at least more than 1,000 footballers and sportsmen and women have been severely wounded from Israel's relentless bombardment. Unfortunately, they haven't kicked the ball since October the 7th. We still find solace in football. We still see football as a means of life. But you mentioned something very important, Dr. Ali, that you are a sports journalist. But make sure that everybody knows that I'm the oldest sports journalist across Palestine. And despite this fact, I was attacked by right-wing papers, not supported, and you already know the story, and let it not be a secret. No, the Telegraph, the Times, the Guardian, and other right-wing papers that have attacked me instead of supporting and having my back amid this genocide, and I have no reason why. But yes, this is their double standards. I really have no idea why this is happening because this is a quiet tragedy that people haven't been talked about, and we need people to understand and to know that everything is going to be okay. We love football. We love life. Football means to us life. And we continue to have this spirit now, every time, and forever. So, yes, it's about this that football means to us life. And we will continue to seek some respite and love life despite the truly unbearable circumstances.
Yeah. Well, Abubaker, we just have a minute left, and I wanted to highlight your story that we just published earlier today, Medical Training at a Time of Massive Shock. In just, 30 seconds or so, tell us about covering this story and what was significant to you.
It was significant because there was no means of a good environment or good conducive environment to learning amid such circumstances. These medical students are somehow obliged to go and continue their learning because of the continuous targeting of medical staff across the territory. Many have been killed. Healthcare professionals have been killed also. So they're trying to train those students to get into to service, do what they can, because of the continuous targeting of these staff. Despite all the circumstances, they try and be helpful, be there for their people, and they are absolutely bright, shining students. I'm very sure they have all this.
Yeah. Well, it's a really important story, very moving, as always. All of your reporting has been just exceptional, especially under the circumstances, Abubaker. We want to again extend our congratulations to your sister and to your family, and I know that everybody who's watching and listening to this wants to extend a bubble of protection around all of you, and we all hope that this is over immediately.
We hope so. Thank you so much.
Thank
Keep
you
Thank
so
that
you,
up.
much.
Abubaker. We love you, and we can't wait to talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye
Please
bye.
be safe.
Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit like, leave a comment. These engagements help us with the YouTube algorithm, and it helps us to get around Silicon Valley censorship as much as possible. It does make a difference. You can also support our journalism by going to electronicintifada.net and clicking on donate now. Thank you.